July 27, 2018, transcribing audio recorded in spring of 1992 between Richard Waldo and Edna Waldo.
Dick Waldo speaking. I'm with my mother, Edna Waldo, today, which is April 30th, 1994.
94.
And we're going to try to record today some thoughts that I've asked her to bring to mind on the subject of Dr. Louis L'Amour, her father, my grandfather. Specifically about what kind of a person he was, what kind of an individual he was, his character, his personality, his lifestyle, what kind of a husband, what kind of a father, what kind of a friend, those kinds of things. You told me a lot, Mother, about his life, and I know you'll repeat some of that in order to tell me what kind of a person he was. But I'm very curious to find out just what kind of a man he was. And with that, as an introduction, you're on.
Of course, I was a child when I first knew my father, and I didn't pay much attention for several years after that. He was very much a person. Any place he was, he was in charge. Any place he was, his personality showed first. And it's amazing that when he had his own family, he became so interested in when he had us, and then also when he acquired my grandmother and her problems, and he had so many things to do for her. So
the things he did for your grandmother, did he do quite willingly?
Oh yes, he loved her. In the first place, when you were a woman with children in those days, there were no apartments. You got what they called rooms, and they were rooms of somebody's house, which were good or not, and the cooking and heating arrangements were always rather doubtful. But we lived in a nice little house with 2 bedrooms on the other side of 3rd Avenue, from where we built later. And it was really a nice little house, but on the wrong side of the street. So when we moved over and had our own house, which was 1901, Grandma had been living in some rooms on 4th Avenue, upstairs when they had to climb up. And it was hard for her to get much sewing to do when a woman had to climb the stairs. So my father persuaded her to rent that house. I don't know what she had to pay. She had an income. So then, from then on, Eel had been born in that house, which was 1899. And then my sister was 1901 in the new house. So he very willingly, he had always known her, of course, when she lived in the rooms, but he very willingly helped her. He shoveled snow the winter, he shoveled coal. If she had any personal or business programs or problems, he took care of them, and she had some personal problems with family matters. Most everybody thought she was a widow, and she didn't say she wasn't. And of course, my grandfather was very well ensconced in the Soldiers' Home of St. Paul, and of course he did have a bad leg that he inherited from the Civil War, but he was getting quite a good pension. At the time he died 2 years later, he was getting $95, which was a very big, good pension. Of course, he was a wounded officer.
Mother, we want to talk about your father.
I know, but I'm telling you how my grandmother moved across the street from us, which made all the difference. So he suddenly had quite a family. Ordinarily, you'd think it would object, but he didn't object because he hadn't had much family as he grew up. He had family always. So he always had somebody.
So you're saying that he did for your mother out of his regard for her and his generally
grandmother.
His grandmother, and because he had a generally kind and generous nature?
Oh, yes. Everybody liked Grandma. She was a very sensible woman. She had her own personal problems, and there will be one that I don't want to discuss much about, but there was before we get through with this.
We're going to talk about your father mostly.
I know, but my father inherited a lot of things when he married my mother. So, you see, my grandmother had only one son, and that was Truman, who was going his own way, and by that time he was down in Minnesota. So she didn't have anybody else. She had daughters, but there were a lot of that they didn't know about. I don't know when I learned to listen, because I haven't done much listening in my senior life, as I was doing the talking myself. But at any rate, I found out that I could listen, and there was a lot of gossiping between my grandmother and her dressmaking people, and by my mother and her sisters, and I heard lots of things there. Sometimes I didn't understand what I heard, and I never did me no good to ask my mother things because she didn't think I should have heard anything at all. So I would sometimes ask Grandma to get things straight for me, and I think she always did, whether it was in her or not, she did. So my father, as I said, she was right across the street. And I think he probably had done her help for when she was in the rooms, which was only 2 blocks away. Well, what question did you want to ask about my father?
You know, what kind of, did he have a lot of friends? And what was this, what kind of a personality did he have?
He was a very open personality. I think everybody admired him very much. And one thing that I've been thinking about was he attracted interesting people. And in Jamestown, there were some very distinguished people that were very fond of him. And he liked people very much. He wanted to be with people. And of course, my mother didn't care much about going out, but she couldn't very well because she had a new child every year or so.
So he was gregarious.
Oh, yes.
But he married a woman who wasn't.
That's true.
So
Although I didn't think she ever had been. That was what I told her, that Tom Hall, the congressman and Secretary of State in North Dakota, told me once in Bismarck that he belonged to the Jamestown family of Halls, and he belonged to the same Empress Church group that my mother did. And he said, every time I meet you, I think about your mother. And I said, I don't look like her. He said, no, you don't. He said, she was a very good-looking woman. He said, she was very popular. And I said, well, in my day, the Empress didn't do anything. And I had not had that picture of my mother. And so every time something happened, if he was invited to speak at a club convention, twice at least, he called up and said, can I drive you there? And I said, yes, you may. So he and his wife were both friends of my mother's. So my father liked people. And one thing he did, which he probably inherited from Canada, of course, he had had a good life in Canada. But the point was, it wasn't his life. He had no real folks, he had no mother. He had relationships, but they weren't that close. But evidently, one thing they've always done in Canada, the same thing you do in England, you go calling on Sunday afternoon. And everybody sure did the family album. You've probably never seen any of them. We had one that wasn't the most beautiful ones, but they were elegant. Now they show you the postcards, you know, and the snapshots. But my father used to go around on Sunday afternoon and call on people that he knew. Sometimes they were businessmen downtown. And I sometimes went with him.
But your mother didn't go.
My mother didn't go. Well, my mother always had a little child.
Yes.
And she didn't want to anyhow.
Yes.
But anyhow, he went to see these people. And he met important people. I can tell you who some of them were.
You don't need to.
Oh, I think I should have to tell you about Bailey Fuller. Bailey Fuller was a mayor of Jamestown. And officers downtown. Well, Bailey Fuller and had an episode in his life which affected everything. I don't know whether it was an episode or whether how long it continued. But in those days, as I've told you before in reference to Pearl Dunn, milliners, especially traveling ones who came for a short period to trim hats, had a very bad reputation. Maybe it was justified, maybe it wasn't. But the idea was that if a milliner came in from out of town, the milliner who had the shop had bought the shapes, as they call the hats. Then when somebody from the wholesale house came to trim them to your order. And that was a very good job. And so the milliner usually stayed a few weeks or a few months. And of course, there were no apartments for her. She took whatever room she could get. I remember very well that in Jamestown there was, or maybe it was in Cavalier, I guess. I know in Cavalier, where a girl had an apartment above a bank building, and all the gossip was that that was where the men could always find her, and whether that was true or not, I don't know. But at any rate, Pearl Dunn had she got involved with Bert. She was one of those traveling milliners, and she has told me that very frankly. Well, anyhow, I got off my. I know.
But we're going to try to always remember to get back to your father, to develop his character and his personality and his style.
I'll get to my father. My father seemed to attract important people. Okay, when he got to be on the city council, he didn't have the job that you did. He didn't have the time because he had a lot of free time, and they knew it, and he was willing to do it. I don't think there was any salary connected with it, but there were fees for various things you did. But at any rate, he very willingly took on that. But I think this was before that. And sometimes I went with him because I was curious. I'd go anywhere. So Bailey Fuller was a very rotund gentleman who used to spend the Sunday afternoon sitting in his office, which was downtown, and I think it was next door to a hotel. And he always had lots of newspapers and magazines and books there. And I didn't know the story till later, when I met the former Mrs. Bailey Fuller and the daughter, Mrs. Henderson. The daughter, was married to Jack Henderson, who was the other alderman from the first ward. My father and Jack Henderson were the two, or he was much younger than my father. But the big gossip was when they had girl twins and we had girl twins the same month, and everybody began talking about that job. Anyhow, I didn't know at that time that Mrs. Fuller did not live with Mr. Fuller. And the story was more than gossip in town because I was told it by many other people. At some period, he had sort of taken on one of these traveling milliners. And the story was that he had either bought her a house or got her a house and put her in a horse house where he used to go in the other end of town quite often.
He'd taken a mistress.
Yes. And I don't know how long ago it happened, but at the time that I knew Bailey Fuller, this woman, her name was Nellie Nelson, and she had a shop, and I bought hats from her. I don't know whether she was still there, and I don't know whether Bailey still went over there or not, but the story around town, among reputable people, was that he had simply taken her on and had done everything for her. And his wife stood as though she was going to, then she simply moved out to her daughter's place, and that was that. Years later, when I went to Jamestown on some club affair, I met Mrs. Henderson. I never had known her before. She was young, not much older than I. And I said something about, I used to know your father. I used to go to his office on Sunday afternoon. She said, I didn't see much of my father for many years. And she said, he left us for somebody else. And so we didn't count him anymore. So that was years later. Well, anyhow, Bailey Fuller, my father used to go over there and visit with Bailey, and I'm sure Bailey helped him a lot. He was not always the mayor. He was the mayor part of the time. And I know he was a Republican because he couldn't have been mayor otherwise. Anyhow, I didn't mind going over there. I liked going to see important people, and my father took me along because he wanted to take somebody. But Bailey Fuller not only had the Sunday paper, but he had picture magazines and books and things around. And he usually had candy or Cracker Jacks or something. So he always looked after me when I was there, and I just sat there and I didn't pay much attention to what they were saying. But I know that he was very fond of my father and that he was often advising him. But there was a lawyer in town named George Thorpe, who was the kind of lawyer that you got if you knew you were very guilty, because he was supposed to get anybody off. I don't know how my father got acquainted with George Thorpe. He didn't have any case like that, but somehow in business, he encountered George Thorpe and had a great respect for him. In fact, my father had a great respect for most lawyers. I think he could have been one if he'd had the chance. At any rate, I thought that was interesting. George Thorpe also had a son that was a lawyer, and he was almost that good. But very often at the dinner table, my father would be saying, and George Thorpe told me. And there were other people like that. But after he got this city job, I think, according to what Margaret Chumley told me, he systematically went around and called on the people that he was supposedly serving. Because there was a time when they not only were establishing the parks, but they were beginning to do the streets and water and sewer and all those things being done. And he was in on all that. But Margaret Chumley's father was Reverend Olson, who was probably the most popular Methodist preacher we ever had there. And she said my father used to stop in to see them. Probably not Sunday afternoon, but some other afternoon, because preachers are too busy on Sunday. And he used to tell her stories. Well, I said, that's nice, because he didn't tell me stories.
Was your father quick to anger?
What?
Was he quick to anger?
Oh, yes.
So, for example,
Oh, yes. Gail was like that.
he was like, his son was like him, Gail. Well,
Gail.
how do you know he was quick to anger? That he had a quick
I saw and heard him.
at home with his.
And, oh, yes. He would get angry at things.
Was he angry with his wife or with you children or just things in general, or?
Things in general sometimes.
He didn't get angry with you and your mother?
Once, I think, and I've told you what occasion that was when I had torn up that letter that I did not give him.
Tell me about that story. I don't think, I'd like to know that story. I think I've forgotten it.
Well, it wasn't very nice. But let's go back a little bit. We had a lot of conversation at our dining room table. Not much for me, because my two brothers were very noisy. But my parents encouraged them to conversation, and my father was always in politics, and so my mother always said, tell the kids about that, the boys, because of course I could never have voted, I thought. And so the boys used to listen, and they paid a lot of attention when it was politics. So I listened too, but that was that. But my father would get angry at various things, people that he had met and people that came there, other things. And he would fight sometimes.
Can you give me an example of when he got into a fight?
Well, I have to go back a little bit, because you don't know all the things my father did. In the first place, when he married, as you know, he had this job as one of the state veterinarians. And I think what they checked he got each month, and I don't think it was more than $50. I think that was sort of a retainer fee. And I believe, without knowing, that when they had large bunches of horses to test, that they probably got more money for that. Because that was the thing that he did. And you see, when North Dakota became a state, the railroad, of course, was always trying to get more freight. The railroad had gone in the German farmers and had established them, and they did most anything they could to help farmers, because they shipped out the product later. Anyhow, my father, Dr. Brandenburg, who was a state veterinarian, he said he didn't think those people could have done anything, and I said, oh, they did. And he said, well, they didn't have any money for travel. I said, they didn't need it. The railroad gave them passes. Somewhere in my files, I have 3 of those passes. It was a little bit like the telephone company would stop for linemen, and they would stop for the inspectors. But of course, the thing was, my father carried a gun, which is important in his history, because if he found a horse with blinders, he had to shoot it. And of course, sometimes the foreign farmers objected very strenuously to having a horse fought. But ordinarily, they inspected the herds when they were being shipped in, and sometimes had been sold, and sometimes were for sale. And the railroad company did not especially approve of that, but they did give these state veterinarians. They were state veterinarians, and my father was in the 5th Judicial District, which included several counties, not only Susquehanna, but Barnes County, Valley City, and another one near there. So sometimes he traveled with teams, sometimes he traveled with a train. But it was a very important thing. And he did not lose his job. The legislature canceled the whole deal. Because after some years, and I was already in school, and he was still getting the check. Because I saw the check a couple times, and I had not seen a check before, so they showed it to me. State of North Dakota. It was interesting to see. So anyhow, okay.
You were leading up to telling me about one of the fights that your father got into.
What I'm talking about is that when suddenly the legislature, meeting in the winter, canceled the whole thing, he had no fixed job. And of course, the thing was, while he had the state veterinarian job, he still could practice privately. But the farmers almost never paid. They would, when we had the barn, they would bring hay and feed. They always brought us a side of beef and a side of pork, and sometimes butter, which he didn't like because it wouldn't be clean. But anyhow, when he suddenly had no check coming, he got the job as chief of police for Jamestown for 1 year. That's when he had the fights, and I saw one of them. Because he would always fight. I don't know who taught him. His own father may have taught him, and somebody taught him to box because he knew how to do it very well when he taught all 3 of his sons. But it may have been when his father took him up to the lumber woods, maybe that's where he learned how to box. At any rate, he would fight. And Jamestown always needed more policemen, so he took this idea that it was just for the 1 year, and I think that's how he served. So one time, my grandmother lived over on the other side. See, we lived on the south side of the tracks. My grandmother at that time had rooms on the north side of the track for just a short time. She had a sister from St. Cloud visiting her, and I was over there. And they had the big habit, which I think was a very bad habit. If they wanted my father to come home to a meal or something, they'd send me downtown to find him. And of course, that was really kind of a dangerous thing for me to be doing, but of course, I was a little snoop anyhow. So I went out that Sunday afternoon to find my father to tell him it was time to come home to dinner. There was a crowd of people in front of a hotel, and he was halfway on the ground fighting somebody. He was trying to arrest some man who objected, and they had gone to the floor with it, and he eventually won. And I just said, come home to dinner. And somebody around there said, little girl, go away. And I said, well, he's supposed to come home to dinner. Because my orders had been that he got to get him home to dinner, and he did come eventually. So he used to tell us stories about how he had fights with everybody. And Yale was like that, too. If Yale had a fight with somebody, argument with somebody, the first thing he'd do would be knock him down. And of course, Parker couldn't do that and didn't do it. He couldn't do it. Parker never had the health, you know. Parker learned to use finesse and all sorts of deceit. And that was very handy to him in politics. But Yale would simply knock people down, and of course, that didn't help his reputation any. My father was very, very jolly around home. As I said, we were encouraged to talk at the dining table. Not me so much, because I never got a chance. My parents would talk about things, about politics or other things, and my father wanted my brothers to listen, and they did. Sometimes they joined in. I was just sitting there. But I remember having the picture of my father we'd be at the table, and he'd be standing in the dining room door between that and the front room, dancing a jig.
No kidding. By himself, you mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And he would talk Irish dialect. He was very good at it. He could talk Irish dialect. He didn't know any French. If the family spoke any French, he didn't know any. He was talking Irish dialect and singing songs, and I'm sure some of the songs were ribald. They sounded to me that way. And my mother often said, don't do that, don't sing that. He'd say, well, that's the kind of songs I know. So he would be dancing and jig and singing. And that's he was a man of moods.
A man of moods.
Yes. But I was very special, evidently, as he had not known a little girl before, because he had known big girls when he lived with the Glass family, and he had other boys that he saw in other families, but I was quite special, and so I was quite young when he began taking me out on the country drives, and some of them were long drives with 2 horses, or always with 1 horse.
So you're telling me he was in no way a retiring kind of a man. He was
No.
outgoing, personable, and gregarious.
Well, I wish you had seen him ushering in church. Of course, he had grown up in Canada, where they have a lot more ceremony than we do. The other usher was Dr. Peake, who was our doctor. He was much older than my father. And eventually, the younger men complained about those 2 old guys and said it's time somebody else ushered. But if you had seen him, he and Dr. Peake were very good. They'd take somebody to the seat and they would point out this is the place, and they would bow. And my father was very good at that.
Did they usher them to their seats? They would point them to the seat and then bow and
Not always, but when it felt like it.
be formal about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, he was a very interesting man because you never knew what he'd do next. And for instance, my mother was never interested in clothes, not my clothes. I had a very bad time with her. She didn't care very much what she wore. And of course, grandma's business was closed. And my Aunt Julia was very good at that. And eventually my Aunt Julia was my mother's younger sister, took over my life and handled my clothes because my mother wasn't good at it. All my father had to do with it was if he had money, he would spend money. And we had 2 very good, what we call dry goods stores. And my father would take me downtown and spend much more money than my mother thought he should. The things he always bought me were good cloth coats and good tailored suits, which cost real money, you know. Because he had seen those things when he lived with the family where there were 4 girls.
So he was not a cheapskate. If he had money, he was willing to spend
Sure.
it. Which reminds me of the saying that I heard from some Irish woman a while ago, speaking about a man who was penurious, and she made the comment that so-and-so didn't know where his pockets were, as if to say he didn't know where his pockets were because he never reached into him to pay for anything.
Well, my father never had much spare money.
But when he did, he was willing to spend it.
Yeah, the farmers didn't have much cash, you know. But they brought us produce when they wanted to pay us. They were honest in that way. He didn't have much money there. But the thing was that my mother complained sometimes because she said he spent too much money on me. And he said, well, if she's going to have anything, it's going to be good. And it was.
Now, was your father a drinking man?
I don't think so. I think his father had been. In the first place, North Dakota was dry. You could get it but from a blind pig. And that was against the law.
You better, what is for the record, since this is not a term that's in current everyday parlance, what was a blind pig?
Well, that was some people that did it, sometimes under cover of other lawmen, sometimes just on their own, and it was against the law.
It was sort of a bar, but private.
That's right, private. And my father was always on the side of the law. The first place he'd been a policeman. Some of his friends got him elected, year after year after year, county constable. Now, he was not a constable in the English sense, but he was the only one who knew where all the farmers lived. He knew all those roads when there were no good roads, you know. And if they had to serve papers, they would say, well, Doc will do it. And he got fees for doing that. So it wasn't much money, but it was some. And he ran for sheriff once, and he should have got it, but he didn't get it.
Why did he lose?
I think probably because they knew my mother wasn't interested. At that time, the sheriff's wife cooked for the jailer people.
I see, that was part of
It
it.
was next door to the court.
And I presume if the wife of the sheriff cooked it, then the wife of the sheriff also got paid for this.
Yes. And I don't know whether my mother realized that she might have to do that, but she would not have been good at it. Anyhow, my father took me out electioneering with him sometimes, but he was going to be the sheriff. He should have been. But my father bitterly resented the fact that he wasn't able to go to war. A lot of his friends had gone to the Spanish War, you know. And they used to write letters home. And I have one letter somewhere in my files by a man named Howard Fell from the Philippines. And he always said, how is little Edna?
Well, now, your father was really a little bit, how old was he during the Spanish War?
What?
How old was your father during the Spanish War? Or was it because he had a couple of children by that time?
I think yes, and Parker was born before the war was over.
So that you and Parker had been born already. So he.
I was born in
93. So he wasn't footless and fancy free where he could easily, for example, Truman could have gone to the war, and I know he.
Truman wanted to, they wouldn't take him.
I know he couldn't go, but.
He had a crooked arm.
But basically, your father couldn't go because he had family responsibility.
That's right.
Yes.
But I've told you many, many times, and I've told other people, my first real recollection was when the boys came home from the Philippines. They had come by one train from San Francisco all the way to North Dakota. You can imagine what kind of a time they had. But the deal was that weeks ahead of time, Jamestown began decorating with bunting and cloth letters on buildings. I remember that because they left them there for quite years or so, until they fell off. Anyhow, the deal was that there were Jamestown boys there, and they were friends of my parents, but they also, all of those, Jamestown at that time had a north branch and a south branch on the MP. All those that were going out on the branch lines, like the Devil's Lake and places like that, were to have this dinner with the same at Jamestown. Jamestown was very generous that year. They weren't noted for that, but they were going to take them off the train, and they had a band there, and they were going to give all the men that got off at Jamestown were to have dinner on the town, and they included the men from the north and south branches. They all were there. But we were, at that time, my parents and I were living in a flat in the brick building, which was near where we lived later. And the band was there, and Parker had a little, not khaki suit, but a blue jean suit. It was called a Dewey suit. And I have a picture somewhere in my files of Parker in his Dewey suit. They took us over to the depot, which was right across the street from where we lived. And we saw these soldiers. We never had seen soldiers coming before. In fact, we'd never seen a band at the depot before. Anyhow, they got off, and some of those wonderful people came up and spoke to my father and bowed to my mother, and they said, these are the children. Because I realized later on that there were not many children in Jamestown at that time, and that my parents' friends didn't have many, because they had been married 2 years by then.
Let me ask you one more question, and then we'll stop for today because I've got a commitment pretty soon. Would you call your father a good raconteur, a good storyteller? Was he good that way, or?
He didn't tell me stories. He would tell us political stories and things he'd heard.
Was he did he tell jokes, and was he good that way, or?
Or stuff, but my father didn't talk dirty. He always talked very, very colorful. He didn't talk like anybody else. And I don't know how he came out of that with the background that he had, and with older people and all that. But he was a very good raconteur. He sometimes told jokes, but he didn't do that. The thing that makes him seem like you, he used to go to the school and talk to the teachers, same as you do here. All the way from right through school. And of course, when my brothers got in school, he had plenty to do. And Sheila especially didn't get along in school. Neil always said, he was so noisy, the teacher said he won't settle down in school. And Neil always said there's no room for my feet, and I have to put him out the aisle. And the teacher doesn't want me to do that.
Yeah.
So my father would not only come to call on my teachers, and I didn't have any trouble. I had trouble in the playground, though. There was some big fat girl that was always picking on me in the playground, and they called her Fatty Hayes, and my father went over to clean that up. But he would go back to call on the teachers again, and he was known to have gone to the school board to help with some problems that the teachers had. And that way, he was like you. You come here and you talk to the staff people. And he did that.
Was your father honest and straightforward, or was he deceitful in his dealings with other business people? Was he secretive, or was he honest and forthright?
I think honest in matters where he had to be, where he was supposed to be. But my father was not, he didn't tell his business to people. I never knew whether we had a mortgage or not. I never knew who gave him the money for the house. I never knew who did anything for him.
He was like my father. He kept the business was private. He didn't even share it with his family.
Well, my mother was an odd woman. I can't believe that she was as active as Tom Hall said she was, but when she began, her business was having children and raising flowers.
Yeah.
And she really didn't want to go out very much.
Yeah.
And of course, she never had a baby carriage. And we usually had a buggy with one seat. She could take one child with her, but she couldn't take all the children.
Yeah.
I think he took me because he didn't want to go alone, and my brothers weren't old enough. You see, I was 4 years old before I had a brother.
Yeah.
And Parker wasn't well. And of course, by the time Parker and Neil had each other, they were a corporation. They were two against the world. And of course, Parker learned to box and all that, but he wasn't the natural fighter that Neil was. He also wasn't as good in jail.
I think it's time to quit for today, Mother, because
Her father was a complex personality.
well, we'll play some of this back
Okay.
when we record again, maybe tomorrow, and we'll get you off to a running start. In the meantime,
Stop
you can
there for now.